I do want to talk about art history because I think it's important. I watch so many people start doing performance and think that they invented the tar and the feather. Etc. So to know who the Viennese actionists are, if these how to transform something through an abject action, to go into other types of politics through people here like David Warnerovich, through more feminist issues like Gina Pane. Sometimes I tell people to fact check in reverse. Have your idea, make it you, and then look who did it before. So these things are valuable, and some of these things inform me, but usually in different ways, like being playful with the Yves Klein blue body impressions, throwing someone against the wall, maybe not making it a model this time. Here's a cute reference to, I guess, my USA claim to fame, the Human Printing Press, which is was kind of based on a scarification pattern that I did on Divinity's back probably 100 times in different performances, in clubs, on tour, in 3 continents, for me to make a wound and then take an impression of the wound and send it out on 3 lines over the audience so that within reach, and then this cellular thing that happens with blood, it was still important for me for the work. And I don't think of placing the work in a place. You have to find the place that suits the work. So we push boundaries and laws. Here's me, even with some surprising pictures like this, like bitchy, high-fashion, corseted one, where I'm gasping into my own jacket. Thank you, Paul King. This is this ride of making performance and being like haunted by images that I have to make performances from. For me, this goes all the way back to 1980, and this is a real DIY spirit era where everybody I knew was in a band, and I didn't think through music like that. I didn't want to play a Ford chord anything. But there was a performance artist named Johanna Wendt who did more like witch doctor, like mowing through props, a little bit actionist meet, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of horror, a little bit of free jazz. And that sort of cracked something open in my head that something else could happen. Also, there's a magazine called High Performance, where I never read the fucking boring reviews. I just like a picture of like somebody in a tank full of guts, or the Chris Burden actions, which of course happen near Los Angeles adjacent, if not in LA. So those things resonated, and there's been, I don't know. I loved in Dominic's talk last night this sort of like picking apart like Stellark on this like aesthetics, conceptual art, body art like thing that's unemotional, unecstatic in his statement. I actually don't believe it. The body is not obsolete. And then on the other side saying, it's not the action that I'm doing, it's the place that I'm getting to. I see it more as a palette. Like I've had periods of all of those things. And then additionally, maybe more like Rocio Bolivar, I also perform my pathos. I don't try to whitewash it. I was a self-harmer. I have tried to commit suicide. I have many interactions from ecstasy to destruction in my relationship to the perforated body. So that darkness is always there as well as the sparkle. Woo! So I always made, the way I paid for works, I never thought about how I fit in the art world in the earlier 90s. I was part of this club called Club Fuck in LA that every Sunday night, go-go therapy, from 90 to 93. And then bigger fetish events like Fetish Ball, bigger ones in New York and London. And I would take the fees from those things and buy costumes, make props, etc. In 95, I was commissioned by the ICA London and the English Arts Council to make a piece called Deliverance. And in Deliverance, there's a I play with the trickster shaman as a result of every scenario of horror you go through. And there's one where we're simulated castrated with surgical staplers, so it's like a tuck, like hello. And Lee Bowery had died the year before that, and I did make some performances for his memorial in New York and Amsterdam. And you know, the widow and the executor of his estate, Nicola Bowery, gave me this gown for that performance, and it's reappeared in a few other ones, and will appear on another body later tonight with a new face. So that's kind of a inheritance in a way, you know, of somebody that tweaked image and body, and also turned out ideas of, like, you know, to cover up everything and leave belly out, you know, just like twisting them. You know, Vivienne Westwood credits him with bringing the bustle back, or says, like, to, you know, unfortunate the way some people construct it, but they're the genius. So more stuff. This is from that club I was talking about. You know, half the people are dead from that era. Any part you want to talk about?
Not really. Just a lot of the stuff that we did in clubs that transpired to stage was pretty interesting, because we got to play a lot and able to figure out what was going to look good, what wasn't going to look good, how people were going to receive it. So a lot of that club stuff became really good stage stuff. So that was our playground. And we didn't have the clubs like Club Fog, Cinematic. In Los Angeles, a lot of this probably would not have happened. It would have happened a lot differently. So
For us, yeah.
For us, so it was a good place to play around, and we had an audience for it. So it was always a pleasure just to put on good times for good people.
Now here's some of our history right behind you. Bob Flanagan and Sherry Rose, who I have had two different relationships with. I remember when like getting tattooed was a fetish. So I went to a tattoo party, and Mistress Rose was there taking pictures, and it was kind of like a Leatherman party at a really greasy bar called the Pits. So I just thought, wow, it's just like nice Jewish lady from the valley that's at every kinky event, like crawling around with her camera, just up in it, and, you know, then like topping 5 people at once, just like a hog dom. And then, yeah, I remember Bob more distant, even when he worked at the Gauntlet, and then later, I was at that Modern Primitive release party where he did Nailed, and you know when you're at something historic and it just like the whole room clicked, and the world was changed after that. Actually, like, created different possibilities and different ways for people to see the experience.